Hi Prof. So this is my 10th SRJ video and also the final one. In this reflection, I'll be discussing two closely linked developments. Firstly, our group's consultation with Prof. Bernice on the direction of our creative practice. And second of all, our decision to not proceed with a fifth trip at this stage. So both events forced me to confront an uncomfortable but important question. So when there's continuing to do more, actually stop adding value, right? So in my discussion with Prof. Bernice, I shared our concern that our creative practice might feel like a compilation of disconnected visuals. So rather than seeing this as a weakness, she encouraged us to think of CP as an experience rather than a single artifact. So one idea that stood out to us was treating a picture book like as a central anchor by situating it with a broader exhibition context. So this could involve enlarging landscape photographs, so our existing pool of photos, for example, of the quarry, and also displaying materials we use, so things we use in the net building, like the ropes, floats, and the net itself, and also creating a spatial experience that mirrors being at the site itself. So with this, right, the goal would not be to explain everything explicitly, but to allow viewers to sort of slow down, observe, and reflect on our work's meaning. So another suggestion that challenged my assumptions was introducing interactive elements into the book itself. So instead of being a passive object, right, the book could become more participatory, where readers are invited to draw, respond, or imagine interventions that can be tied back to the water body. So deciding where or like rather what activities, it pushed me to think carefully about who this book is for and how it educates and engages people without being too didactic. And at the same time, right, we have to reckon with the question of a fifth trip. So on one hand, there are clear areas that feel unfinished, like improving the floating planters because the plants all died, and preparing the corner space for community activities and following up on some of the earlier interventions as well. But as you mentioned, right, the on the ground realities complicate this. So we received word from you that several key community partners are currently unavailable. So especially like Papit has left the village, for example, and both the Kamnan and the assistant chart they have won elections, right? So they have new responsibilities that make them largely inaccessible. And I think more importantly, right, these events have caused political shifts that worsen the divide, as you said as well. So given these conditions, right, our group had to evaluate what one more trip would realistically achieve. So while we might be able to improve the planters, it is a bit unclear what sort of meaningful follow-up and sustained engagement would look like without consistent local coordination. So in this context, right, we sort of decided with you that another visit risks becoming like symbolic rather than being actually impactful. So this situation makes me realize that the commitment in a community service project like this doesn't always mean like constant action maybe. So sometimes like showing restraint is possibly more ideal than persistence, than mindless persistence, because like continuing to intervene without having a clear purpose or having local alignment may do more to satisfy our own sense of completion than to actually serve the community meaningfully. And like that being said, right, this is not a decision to abandon the site or the project as we discussed. So we are shifting our focus to creative practice for now, while remaining open to the possibility of another trip. Maybe if and when we can identify an intervention that is genuinely useful and well supported on the ground as well. So ultimately, this phase has reshaped my understanding of impact. So like, not all projects will end in visible resolution, and like learning to work with a degree of uncertainty, like whether it be political, social, or logistical, is part of ethical engagement. So for now, right, our responsibility lies in reflecting honestly on what's been done, what remains unsolved, and how we choose to represent the complexity of this whole situation through our creative practice.